No offense to longer skirts that are cute, but
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it'll end up being as long as you need to say the stuff you need to say. And usually, the way it works out is the better you know the stuff, the shorter it is. And I mean that not by you, about we. We tend to write more and more and more as sort of like our security blanket of our, to cover up our own insecurities about not knowing that much about it. So we write, we chat and talk, and if we really know what we're talking about, we just say, do this, it was that. Follow what I'm saying? So the better you know your material, the more comfortable you're going to be writing a little bit more shorter.
See, I always wondered that, like, because in the articles that, the journal articles that we read, sometimes there are discussions like, okay, that's it? And then like in 311, they tell us to write like 4 or 5 pages long.
right.
So
Well,
we're like,
So here's what I would say about it. So let's say 311, they tell you to write 3 or 4 pages, or 4 or
Yeah.
5. Because we're starting off, we're green behind the ears, we're just newbies, we're rookies, right?
Right.
And we kind of need some guidance on like, how long do they usually tend to be, so that we have some guidance about, am I missing something that I should have in there that I don't know that ought to be in there? Is this too short? Should I think about what else to put in? And I think that's useful as a guideline starting off. But, we're past 311.
yeah,
And
so like,
so, but the thing is, when I said as long as it needs to be, it'll probably
Yeah.
be 3 or 5 pages.
okay.
But probably not. If we keep it short, we follow the formula that I've developed and suggesting to you guys, write your stats in this way that we walked through last class. It should not necessarily be all that long, but it could be, especially if it's double spaced.
Yeah.
I mean-
because you always wonder, I'm like, okay, you read some articles and like sometimes the discussion page is like 2 pages long, and then sometimes like a paragraph.
Yeah, so some of that differs based on journal too, because different journals have different purposes.
Oh.
So some journals, you'll read a discussion that goes for 15 pages, single spaced, like 10-point font, because there's a lot to say. Maybe it's a theoretical paper, and they're proposing a whole new framework by which to understand a phenomenon. And it takes a long time to discuss it because there's so many other theories that they need to give credence to and acknowledge the limitations to or something. But on the other hand, sometimes journals have very short page limits because they want you to just be concise and they just want to report brief reports. And the shorter the page limit, the tougher it is to write.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't give you an answer on it, because if I told you, did we have a project where I said to keep it within a certain page limit yet?
No.
Maybe that was a different class. But if I were to say to keep it within 1 page, it would be tougher of an assignment than if I said it has to be at least 5 pages. And I know that sounds crazy to think about right now, and you might think I'm totally full of it for saying that, but it's usually tougher to keep it shorter.
Being succinct is
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's like, you ever hear people say that? Being succinct is very, 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 very difficult. The irony being, right, it took a whole long time to say,
Yep.
it's hard.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Can I go back to what we were doing earlier?
Yeah.
Can you please just go over conclusions one more time? Explain that.
Sure, it should be about a paragraph. Just summarize the whole shebang. So, summarize what you found. You can keep it general, not jargony. Bring it back up to like a broader level, right? So, it's kind of like an hourglass, right?
the mic drop.
What?
I was saying it's like your mic drop. Drop the mic.
No, you don't want to drop the mic at all in this case.
Oh,
You want a soft crescendo, right? It's like a musical, like a symphony. You want to bring them soft down, right? You don't want to drop the mic on it right now. So if this is your intro, right, and this is your conclusions, right? This is very broad here, right? You're going to get narrower and narrower as you get to the methods and the results. And then as you walk through your discussion section, probably about here, downwards, this would be your discussion, right? You're going to get more and more broad into talking about the implications, right? So here, it's very, very pointed. This is the skinniest part, the discussion of the data. Then you're going to interpret it, which gets a little bit more broad. You're going to discuss the implications of it, which gets even broader. And then you're going to come down to the conclusions, right? Somewhere after limitations or future stuff, that's somewhere basically broader in here. And this is gonna be your broader point. And yeah, make it, so as you're getting to this sort of section in here, this should be your specialist point. This is when you're writing to the specialists and the real technical experts. Up here, intro at the very bottom of your discussion, this is where you're writing to your parents or your grandparents. Or your friend who doesn't study this stuff. This is where you're telling them, what are you doing and why does it matter? And here you're telling them, what did I find and why does it matter? It's like your elevator conversation. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the framework of what we're going to look for in the discussion. And yes, Kelsey, your question?
Oh, my question was just with regarding the introduction and method sections that we've already had, like been given feedback on. Is it okay to take that and just put it into the new document as a whole? Or put it into the new Microsoft Word document as a whole? Like,
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's the whole idea. I'm trying to help you guys get there.
Making sure. Just like like we email it to you as just one
document. You should be able to start copying and pasting things in with this caveat, right? I gave you edits and feedback on something. That doesn't mean it's perfect. That doesn't mean you still don't reread it, re-improve it, because you wrote some of those sections over a month ago. Have you learned a little bit in a month? Right? Some stuff, right? Hopefully a lot of stuff. So you're going to want to go back to that.
Yeah.
And you're going to want to revisit all those drafts that you wrote. Make them better beyond what I said to do. And when you make them better, do it remembering the feedback that I gave you on those drafts. Does that help? Okay. So, yeah, that's a very good question. But that's why I wanted to give you guys these opportunities, weekly submission of the drafts, is so that when it comes time now, you're not overwhelmed. And you're like, oh, okay, I just need to write this section for the results right now. Because this stuff I can copy and paste in and tune up and tailor. And, you know what I'm saying? Makes it digestible. Small, manageable chunks get us to where we need to go without feeling like we're just completely saturated and drinking from a fire hose and overwhelmed. So that was kind of the strategy I was trying to work for. And remember that we will build from this paper that we submit on Wednesday. We will get edits and feedback, comments on that, and we will improve it into a final draft that has more results and discussion of additional things you'll explore and build upon. And you're going to have something that's really, really nice and really cool. Put some three-dimensional scout maps in there. Talk about the role of the hippocampus. Look at clinical deficits if you're into that. Look at brain state issues if you're into brain states. Really, really cool opportunities. So that'll be kind of the idea there. Are there questions on that stuff? Okay. So we started off, I want to let you guys start off today by working on some of your projects that you've been doing, and just kind of getting some of the dust and rust off, and reminding you guys of a couple things that you got stuck on or had problems with or were confused about over the last couple days, so that you have them fresh in your mind now to ask me about more specifically. And so I kind of just wanted to use the next sort of chunk of time to see if there's something that I can help you with, because a lot of you guys have the same problems or questions or issues that maybe I can help everybody with at once. So hopefully in working with that data for the initial 20 or 30 minutes, you're able to accumulate enough ammo to fire at me, and I'll see if I can field it for you, and we can try to work it through together. How does that sound? Mm-hmm. Reasonable plan? Mm-hmm. Is this something you want to do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me erase this and fire away. If you want, you can restart that next section on there so that people can look at a different clip. Just press the button.
One button.
The big gray one on the right.
The big one on the right. Why am I not seeing this?
What?
No, I don't need to work button.
Your other right.
Oh,